All right, let's see what's coming towards you this week. What should you be aware of? Let's do an energy check-in. And so I'm using our Wisdom of the Oracle deck. We're going to give it a shuffle and then see what comes out. And then I'll clarify with another deck. I'll clarify with the Sufi Tarot. These are beautiful cards. So let's see what's coming towards you this week. Okay, so we received 3 cards already. And look at that. I love this. You know how I feel about the card at the bottom of the deck, Poise. So some of you are in a position right now where you're just like ready to take off. You know what I mean? Look at her. She's like, oh, I mean, she's just stretching up. She's ready to go. I mean, she's leapt from where she was, you know, almost in midair, and is just so free. And that's what I'm feeling. Like some of you, if things have been feeling a little heavy lately, right? Like this week, you're going to start to feel things turn around. You're going to feel a levity. You're going to feel a freedom. You're going to feel like, you know what? I can do what I want. I can do anything. And maybe there's something that you've been putting off, right? That this week you're going to feel like, you know what? This is the time to do it. Damn it, I'm going to do it. And it's going to be successful. Like you're just going to get this confidence and this freedom and this relief and this release, you know, knowing that this is the time for me to go after something that I have really been putting off. It could be in terms of gifts. You know, it says exchanging gifts. Some of you may be getting a gift, right? Some of you may be coming into some money, maybe a promotion, right, with your job or something that you've been striving for. But I'm kind of getting like this week is a week when things are going to take off, but in a good way. All right, that's beautiful. And then look at the card above the deck, blessed. You know, it kind of ties into the message from last week, right? Because last week we got a message about some of you are doing the work. And as you're doing the work, which is like right here, clean it up. You're now attracting beautiful, positive things that are in alignment with your highest good, right? But I'm just chatting now, and that's not even the cards that fell out. So let's take a look at the cards that fell out and see if it dovetails with the message. So we have flexible, right? So some of you may be having to compromise. Some of you may be like bending over backwards in terms of achieving a goal, achieving unity, right? Whether that be with a person or with a job or with a thing. The other card you have mending, right? And mending is about healing, right? It's restoring, and it kind of ties in with this flexible in terms of maybe some of you are really working very hard to make something work with somebody, maybe somebody who's not making it easy, you know, is not making it easy for you to work with them, but you're kind of working towards a goal because here you have building blocks, right? And this is a 28, which breaks down to a 10. So maybe this is something that you started with someone sometime back, you know, and you're trying to make this thing work because you've already put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, a lot of money, you know, into this particular thing that you've been creating, right? And it's like whether it's a business or a home, right? Or a particular job. And you're kind of like having to look how she's bending. This is a very uncomfortable position to be in. How long can you be in that position? But you're kind of bending over backwards to try and make this work. So let's see how it ties in. So there could be 2 different messages, right? Because the first message is I'm definitely strongly feeling that some of you are going to be taking off this week. Let's clarify flexible, because I don't know, do I want to pull one more? Let me pull one more and then we'll clarify. One more, spirit. Okay, see, it's what I was feeling, chaos and conflict. So some of you are in a situation where you're bending over backwards, like you've already invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, right, into a situation, but it's bringing you nothing but drama, chaos and conflict. And you're at a stage now where it's like, maybe some of you are wondering, do I repair this, or do I just go in a new direction? Do I continue to struggle with this particular job, with this particular relationship, with this particular person, with this particular situation where I'm having to bend over backwards, and when I think that things are turning around and things are going to be better, all I'm met with in the end is more, I hear BS, right? It's just more drama, more conflict, what I'm rewarded with. Right? So things might look like it's getting better for a little bit, and then you go right back to square one, to the same old complaints, the same old drama, the same old worries. And it's because you're compromising. But the reason you're compromising, but you know, you're compromising, which is good. But sometimes when we are, you have to understand what your motives and intentions are. Because if you're in a situation where the reason why you're staying is because fear is what's holding you in place, so you're going to keep bending over backwards, and then suppress yourself and who you are, right? And then your soul dies just slowly. You know, is that really the situation that you need to be in? Or is it better for you to just work up the courage and work up the confidence and work up the nerve and start something new, right? So that's kind of where I'm feeling that some of you are. It's like I've already put in a lot of time in this situation. Do I try and make this work, or do I find the exit, right? So, okay, this one was reversed. I'm going to turn it back over because it may have been reversed before. So let's clarify and then see what else we get, if we get some more specifics. But the reason is because you're getting this chaos and conflict is because you're not satisfying your needs. You know, you're putting other people first and putting other people ahead of you because you may be somebody who's conflict avoidant. I mean, I can understand it. I tend to be somebody who's conflict avoidant, right? I like harmony. I like to get along with people. And so instead of addressing something right away, you know, and I'm not happy with how something is going, or somebody has done something to kind of offend me, I will let it slide. You know, I'll give people a pass. But then what happens is it starts happening over and over and over. And because I don't say anything, you know, I just keep stifling it. But then eventually what happens is there's a blow up. You know what I mean? You just explode on somebody and then it all comes out. And this person's going to be like, whoa, where is this coming from? And that's kind of what I'm getting. That because your heart is out of alignment with what is going on in this situation, and you feel like your needs aren't being met, that's one of the reasons why you're encountering such chaos and conflict around you, because you're in a situation that you are out of alignment with, right? But let's clarify flexible and see what comes out. Okay, so here you have, so it's in terms of like relationships for some of you, right? Look at this. You have the Hanged Man, and look here. This person's just stuck, and he's covering his ears, and it's like he doesn't want to hear it. So it's like some of you know what you need to do, but you don't want to do it. You know, you'd rather just stay in something and keep ignoring it and wishing and hoping that at some point it's just going to miraculously change, as opposed to taking the steps to change it. And you already know what this change would need to be, but it's the fear, right, of the fallout, and then all it entails to disentangle yourself from a situation. And the reason I say that is because you receive the King of Pentacles, right? And King of Pentacles is a very grounded energy. And that's what I was saying. I was getting that building blocks card, that this is something that you have built for a while, you know, whether that be a family, a commitment, a business, right? There's a good money in this situation. It's very stable. It's very grounded. But then some of you may be faced with a choice because you have the Lovers card. So if this is not like, you know, a lover or a partner, right? Somebody that you feel mutually attracted to, then it could be in terms of a business idea or a project that you really love. So there's a choice here, but it's like you're trying to compromise and bend over backwards, because sometimes a Lover's card can be a card of an existing relationship in something where it's bringing you chaos and conflict. They keep bringing me back to this card. All right, let me make sure I have enough time. Let's clarify mending, Spirit. Tell me more. Well, you know what? Let's clarify the Lover's card because that's a major arcana. So see, some of you want to get out of a situation. The Knight of Wands. Look at that. Some of you just want to get the hell out. I hate to say that word. But look at that horse and look at that fire. Like you're just rearing to go, right? Tell me about mending. So again, it doesn't have to be a love situation. It could be a work situation. Take what resonates, leave, you know, the rest. And then here you go. Yeah, Ten of Swords. So some of you are here in a situation where you're feeling, and again, it could be a marriage. Look at her. She looked like she's in her wedding dress, and things just went again to hell. I mean, everything is burnt to the ground, right? Or it's burning, not happy. And this is the situation. Like some of you, again, are stuck in something. We've got a Ten of Swords. That's an ending, and it's a painful ending. It's also a betrayal, right? But it's like you're kind of there trying to, is this worth saving because I'm going to lose money, you know, but your heart's not in it. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Tell me about building block, Spirit, and that's a 10. That's an ending. 19 breaks down to a 10. I mean, it's 20, but I'd say it's a 10, and that's the flexible. You're only going to be able to stay in this position for so long. See, you're holding on to the past. 6 of Cups, right? And then you have this King of Wands. So it took a lot of work, a lot of effort, right? This may have been something where you kind of had to think outside the box. You went and you expanded. You know, you had to be sort of aggressive because the King of Wands takes action to get to where you were. Tell me about chaos and conflict, and then I'm just going to wrap it up because I'm running out of time. Yeah, 7 of Cups. So some of you have some choices to make. You feel like right now there's a lot of confusion, a lot of illusion, things aren't working out. But what you have to do is just trust your heart, right? Let's get one card of advice quickly. One card of advice, because I can see here that some of you are kind of going through this. So you have 5 of Coins, you know, Spirit's saying this is not something that you're happy in. You know, 5 of Pentacles, you know, it may even be impacting your finances, or you're feeling very abandoned and orphaned and left out in the cold. Chariot Spirit saying it's time to get a move on, movement, right? Time to go. And then you have Seven of Pentacles in